Boys, girls, and Bitcoiners of all ages, strap the hell in. Because today, we're hitting max bullish mode. We've got nation states doubling down on Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, strategy, whatever, primed to send it. And an announcement so big, it might just be the biggest moment in Bitcoin history. We're talking about Bitcoin strategic reserves. Giga Chad Saylor smirking like he knows something. And a global monetary shift happening right before our eyes. And in case you're wondering how Bitcoin has performed this year, let's go ahead and check out the most accurate and in-depth market analysis of Q1. You're just not gonna get anywhere else. Roll it. Told ya! Now what does that mean? It means we're just getting started. And we're about to break down why the next few days could redefine Bitcoin forever. Send it! Just in, Belarus President Lukashenko says they have excess electricity and they're ready to mine some Bitcoin.
Надо отвечать на запросы людей, нам надо это сделать. Это будущее. Ну и потом посмотрите по этому майнингу, все больше людей ко мне обращаются. Если нам это выгодно, давайте будем делать. У нас избыток электричества есть, пускай делают они эти криптовалюту и так далее. Так правильно я говорю? Тем более вы видите, каким путем мир идет, и особенно крупнейшая экономика мира. Они вчера объявили, что в резерве они будут держать, поэтому спрос на них будет. Ну, может быть, нам самим это делать. Что ж мы привлекаем каких-то инвесторов, продаем им электроэнергию, хотя я не исключаю это. Ну, надо самим делать. Предложения такие есть. Думаю, что вы перешагнете эту бюрократию и доложите, что будем делать. Что касается...
Think about it. A nation state openly committing resources to Bitcoin, not crypto, not CBDCs, Bitcoin. And Belarus is not alone. Just watch this. Bhutan's prime minister just went full Bitcoin bull mode maxi, saying Bitcoin is moving toward being used just like any other currency.
In Bhutan, gold is everywhere, a Buddhist symbol of the everlasting nature of enlightenment. Now, this small Himalayan kingdom is investing in a future it hopes will be blessed with what backers call digital gold, Bitcoin. It's also finite and supposedly everlasting.
There are hundreds of people who have made billions of dollars on the back of Bitcoin. Why aren't governments doing more? Even if it is seen to be...
Prime Minister's chairing Top Gay says Bitcoin is a strategic reserve, one currently worth more than $1 billion.
We have used Bitcoin for health, to provide free healthcare, for our environment, but these are minor. The main use of Bitcoin has been to finance the salaries of public servants.
Bhutan has built Bitcoin mines at locations across the country where thousands of energy-hungry computers solve complex mathematical puzzles to claim Bitcoins. And here's what's powering this modern-day gold rush: hydro-generated electricity. The government says its Bitcoin operation is carbon neutral. It relies only on water from the Himalayas. It's also very profitable, with Bhutan's computers being rewarded with Bitcoins that at current prices add up to millions of dollars a week. Bhutan is a small country. Large-scale manufacturing and agriculture aren't possible, almost all food is imported, and options for economic development are limited.
I would be very worried if our government was buying Bitcoin, in trading in Bitcoin, but I think the kind of reassurance for us Bhutanese citizens is that the government is mining it. We are using the cheap hydropower, and instead of exporting it at a very cheap rate, we are using it to mine Bitcoins in the high mountains of Bhutan.
Whatever I require for the chief executive of Bhutan's sovereign holding company says exploiting Bitcoin and other new technologies is vital to economic development.
I think you cannot run away from blockchain, cannot run away from AI, how blockchain and AI will combine the industry of money, if I may say, and how money flows from one hand to another, because it's one of the biggest innovation in the space of money for humanity from the time we remember where money was discovered or invented.
Will the Bhutanese one day be making Bitcoin offerings to Buddha? The Prime Minister thinks the world is heading inevitably towards using and exchanging Bitcoin just like any other currency. Bernard Smith, Al Jazeera, Thimphu, Bhutan.
These guys get it. They see what's happening, and they're stacking Bitcoin like they know something the average politician doesn't. And speaking of people waking up, breaking! Representative Thomas Massie, man's a legend, just reintroduced the bill to end the Fed. And you know, I was thinking, yesterday we just totally pwned the IMF, so why don't we pwn the Fed today? Let's go!
The Federal Reserve Act wasn't drafted in Congress. It was drafted on a private island off the coast of Georgia in 1910. Here is the island, Jekyll Island. And it was drafted under great secrecy. Jekyll Island was the retreat for billionaires like William Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan. And in 1910, Senator Nelson Aldrich, the Republican whip in the Senate and the chair of the National Monetary Commission, sent his private railroad car to the New Jersey Railroad Station, where he and 5 other men were instructed to come one at a time and everybody pretend they just didn't know each other. Aldrich, who is the guy, remember, he wrote the original bill. He was a business associate of J.P. Morgan. Oh, and the father-in-law to John D. Rockefeller, Jr. So there's no special interest happening there. There was also Abram Piatt Andrew, Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, and Frank Vanderlip, representing William Rockefeller, Henry Davidson and Benjamin Strong with J.P. Morgan, and Paul Warburg. He was a partner at Kuhn, Loeb and Company. He was representing the Rothschild banking family. Oh, he's going to talk about the Rothschilds now. He actually is an interesting character. If you ever saw Little Orphan Annie, Daddy Warbucks was named after Warburg. These are the men that represented 1/4 of the entire wealth of the world. You think we got a problem with wealth now? Those guys, 1/4 of all of the money in the world. The Morgans, the Rockefellers, the Warburgs, the Rothschilds, all in one room. Yeah, but when do they start sacrificing chickens? Well, it doesn't happen. That I'll tell you. These guys were all competitors. According to G. Edward Griffin, who we'll talk to in a minute, they all had come together to form a banking cartel so they didn't have to compete against each other. He says it was like an oil cartel or a sugar cartel, but this cartel actually went into partnership with the government. I mean, how great is that, huh? It's kind of like the drug cartels in Mexico. Wait, I didn't say that out loud, did I? So for more than a week, these men sat around there. And they sat around this big table and they hammered out all the details of what became the Federal Reserve System with 5 objectives. How many of these do you agree with? 1, to stop the growing competition from the nation's newer banks. That doesn't sound good. 2, to obtain a franchise to create money out of nothing for the purpose of lending. That one really doesn't sound good either. 3, to get control of the reserves of all of the banks so the reckless ones wouldn't be exposed to currency drains or bank runs. Oh, that's the charity part. Golly gee, beef. Thank you so much. Then, to shift the losses from the bank owners to the taxpayers. It just gets better and better for you and me, doesn't it? No. Again, the answer is no. And then finally, to convince Congress that the purpose was to protect the public.
The Fed is still trying to print its way out of a Ponzi scheme while nations and corporations are choosing Bitcoin instead. China is printing trillions to fight Trump's new tariffs. And guess what? All that liquidity is about to send Bitcoin straight to the moon. We'll get back to that, and we have some of the most bullish news in our lifetimes to get to. But first, look at our likes!
But you can't do this to me.
You know how much I sacrificed?
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp while we take a moment to recognize our sponsors, the masters of Bitcoin self-custody and sovereignty, the Bitcoin way. You're looking to learn how to Bitcoin, how to properly secure your Bitcoin, you might want to head on over to the newly revamped Bitcoin Way website where you can begin your road to Bitcoin sovereignty today. If you're looking to schedule a free 30-minute consultation, go ahead and use that link below in the show notes. Are you absolutely sick of explaining why taxation and money printing are theft to people who just don't care? Well, all your lonely days are gone, my friends, with the Orange Pill app. You can stack friends who stack sats. It's the ultimate hub to connect with fellow Bitcoiners, find meetups, and discover every Bitcoin conference happening near you and across the country. Oh, and just in, the Orange Pill app Lightning Wallet is live. You can send and receive Bitcoin at the speed of lightning, baby. No setup, no limits, just pure sats and freedom. Zap to usernames, Lightning URLs, Lightning Network addresses. You can pay invoices. Bitcoin is better with friends. And now you can zap them instantly, all in one app. What are you waiting for? Download the Orange Pill app today and start meeting your laser-eyed brothers and sisters in the real world. Zap your friends, your favorite Bitcoiners, and Bitcoin companies, and who knows? The connections you make could last a lifetime. I want you to look at Saylor right now.
The co-founder and executive chair, Michael Saylor, is here. You should have the most prominent.
The man usually has a stone face of like a war general, but not today. Something tells me this is not just another day at the office for GigaChad. The dude knows what's coming. Because Saylor says if the U.S. buys 10 to 20% of the Bitcoin network, we're going to pay off the national debt.
There's only room for one nation state to buy up 20% of the network. And obviously, I think it should be the United States. I think it will be the United States. It's a way for us to enrich ourselves and emerge as a creditor nation in a matter of a decade. It's also a way for us to ensure that we're the economic leaders in cyberspace and the digital economy for the next 100 years. And if we do that, every one of our allies will follow us, and then all of our enemies will end up having to buy into the network once it passes 10 or 20 million a coin, and they will enrich us.
And now for the biggest news of the year. We are one day away from the U.S. government announcing a Bitcoin strategic reserve. The United States is about to buy Bitcoin. The White House Crypto Summit is happening Friday. And if you've been paying attention, just look at Polymarket. Adam Sandler knows what to do.
Let's fucking bet on this.
And he knows what's coming. A Bitcoin strategic reserve is coming. The Commerce Secretary confirmed it. It's not speculation anymore. It's happening.
He will have a seat at Friday's roundtable. Strategy co-founder and executive chair Michael Saylor is here. You should have the most prominent chair, the one with the armchair with the arms on it, because your company owns more Bitcoin than any other company. What, about 500,000 tokens?
Yeah, about 2.4% of the worldwide supply, okay. 500,000.
Let's just get your view, because everybody's dying to know about the summit and what they think is going to be announced. How do you think this crypto reserve will be financed?
Well, I think that there's a 6-month process that's been laid out by the executive order, and I think the president was fairly deliberate in that. There are 12 members on the Presidential Working Committee. There'll be involvement from the industry, there'll be involvement from the Senate and from the House, and it's above my pay grade to decide how it gets determined. But the Lummis bill has laid out the idea of acquiring Bitcoin strategically over 4 years, just consistently day by day, in order to reach a 1 million Bitcoin target.
Okay, the government has 200,000 Bitcoin, as I understand it. We equal about 17 billion at today's prices. So to get up there, they would have to purchase Bitcoin, right? So as the government purchases these Bitcoin and other tokens, what is that going to do to the price? I mean, supply goes down, the price goes up?
Well, the most responsible thing would be to go slow and steady and deliberate with clear telegraphing and transparency, so that the real key about Bitcoin is for people to understand that it's digital property. It's a savings account that empowers every single American to save their wealth and preserve it over time. And so what the government can do is to give clarity to the asset class and confidence to every American citizen, so they know they have an alternative to gambling and the stock market.
I know you said that it's above your pay grade to decide, but you are allowed an opinion. Do you think taxpayer money should be used to purchase these tokens and coins to fill the reserve?
Well, I think the way to think about the industry is there's digital commodities, that's Bitcoin, an asset without an issuer. There's digital currencies like the stable coins. That's really important for US dollar supremacy and digital commerce. There are digital securities like tokenized stocks and bonds that will actually provide a capital efficiency and globalization for American securities. And then there are digital tokens, assets with issuers that provide digital utility that are very interesting and compelling. Their role is capital creation for the small and mid-sized companies that are blocked from the capital markets right now. I think that it's wise to capitalize a country or a company on a commodity, an asset without an issuer, something like a property. You could buy oil. Bitcoin is a commodity. I think that
XRP is attached to a company, Ripple.
I think that those are tokens, and we should have a regulatory framework to allow them to be issued because...
Issued, but in the reserve? Should they be in the reserve?
I think the emerging consensus in the industry is that Bitcoin should be the element in a strategic reserve over the long term for the country. But if you wanted to support various investments in a sovereign wealth fund, that would be up to the executive branch.
Okay, so let's be clear. I'm hearing you say the reserve fund should really have the tested one, and that is Bitcoin, and not Solana or Cardano or Solana.
The important thing to keep in mind is Bitcoin is the one universally agreed upon foundational asset in the entire crypto economy because it's the asset without an issuer. It's neutral. 99% of the energy and the capital has flown into that one.
Bitcoin is about to go vertical. Trump-backed Florida candidate Byron Donalds is already pushing the state to add Bitcoin to its portfolio.
Big thing, Florida will become the financial hub of the world, not just America, but of the world. Digital assets has really found a home in Miami-Dade. We want to build upon that framework. And one of the things with the state's portfolio I want to be able to do is probably add Bitcoin to be a piece of the state's financial portfolio. It's really proven to be a great holder of value and of wealth. And if we incorporate that into our state's balance sheet, it could be something that will help us weather any potential future storms economically in the future.
North Carolina and Oklahoma both just passed Bitcoin reserve bills through committee. New Hampshire's Bitcoin reserve bill just passed with a 16-1 vote. Oh, and Metaplanet going ham, adding 497 Bitcoin. Bhutan, Belarus, corporations, and now the U.S. are all piling in. Bitcoin is about to get the institutional green light. The Federal Reserve is cornered. The U.S. is about to start DCA'ing Bitcoin. How do you ask? By all the tariff revenue. They're going to stack sats with the tariff revenue. And the price, it hasn't yet, but it's about to reflect it.
Bitcoin solves the use case for all us humans of I've created value for the world and I want to keep it. I want to store it. I want to bring it with me tomorrow. It is the best money we've ever seen. Therefore, Bitcoin is a $500 trillion idea. Half the world's value Bitcoin absorbs and solves for. It is solving the biggest problem we have today. If we can fix the money, we fix the largest problems we have in the world.
If you're still on the sidelines, what are you doing? The floodgates are opening. The biggest monetary revolution the world has ever seen is coming. This is why we Bitcoin. So strap in, because Bitcoin and MicroStrategy are about to go vertical. Let's go! Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us some pep. Share the Sound Money Gospel and stay tuned, because Dante and Nico got a lot more content coming your way, so set those notifications and get the best in Bitcoin delivered to you daily. What an absolute wild week. I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. What do you guys think? Is Valhalla incoming? Drop a comment below, hit us up on X, and you can message me on Orange Pill. Love you guys. Catch you next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.